Picture London in 1666, a city brimming with energy and activity. Imagine a city bustling with life where every corner tells a story. Narrow cobblestone streets teemed with merchants and shoppers, each vying for attention. Horses pulled carts laden with goods, their hooves echoing on the stones, creating a rhythmic symphony. The air was thick with the smells of fresh bread, spices, and unfortunately open sewers, a mix of the delightful and the unpleasant. Buildings were mostly timber, their wooden frames blackened with age, standing as silent witnesses to the passage of time. They stood tall and close together, almost leaning on each other for support. Thatch roofs were common, adding to the rustic charm. The city was a fire hazard waiting to happen with its dense wooden structures and narrow streets. The River Thames flowed alongside, its waters busy with trade ships and fishing boats, a lifeline for the city's commerce. London Bridge, a marvel of its time, spanned the river, connecting the bustling city with the world beyond. Shops and houses lined both sides, their windows displaying wares from distant lands. It was a city on the verge of great change, poised between the old and the new, ready to transform and evolve. The Great Fire began on September 2nd, 1666. It started in a bakery on Pudding Lane. The bakery belonged to Thomas Farriner, the king's baker. A small fire broke out in the early morning hours. It quickly spread to the bakery's supplies of flour and wood. The flames grew larger and hotter. They licked at the timber beams of the bakery. Soon, the entire building was engulfed in flames. Neighbors tried to help. They formed bucket brigades to douse the fire. But their efforts were in vain. The fire was too powerful. The fire quickly spread from Farriner's bakery. It jumped from one timber-framed building to the next. The close proximity of the buildings helped the fire to spread. The strong east wind that day fanned the flames. Embers flew through the air, igniting thatched roofs and wooden structures. The fire raged through the heart of London. It consumed everything in its path. Homes, shops, and churches were reduced to ashes. People fled their homes with whatever possessions they could carry. The streets became choked with panicked citizens and their belongings. The Great Fire consumed many of London's most iconic landmarks. The medieval St. Paul's Cathedral, a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, was destroyed. Its towering spire had dominated the London skyline for centuries. The fire also claimed 87 parish churches and countless other historic buildings. The Guildhall, the seat of London's government, was ravaged by the flames. The Royal Exchange, a center of commerce, was also lost. The fire even threatened the Tower of London, but it was saved by the efforts of its garrison. Section 5. A city battles back, fighting the unstoppable. Londoners fought desperately to contain the inferno. They used buckets, ladders, and whatever tools they could find. However, their efforts were hampered by narrow streets and a lack of organization. The city's fire pumps were primitive and ineffective against the raging flames. King Charles II appointed his brother, the Duke of York, to oversee the firefighting efforts. The Duke ordered houses to be demolished to create firebreaks. This tactic eventually proved successful in slowing the fire's advance. Section 6. Fear and Flight. Londoners flee the inferno. The Great Fire created scenes of chaos and panic throughout London. People fled their homes in terror, carrying their most prized possessions. Many sought refuge in the open fields surrounding the city. They watched in horror as the fire consumed their homes and livelihoods. The River Thames became a lifeline for many fleeing Londoners. Boats of all sizes ferried people to safety on the opposite bank. The river was choked with vessels, creating a chaotic scene of escape and desperation. Section 7. Counting the Cost. The Aftermath of the Great Fire. The Great Fire raged for 4 days and nights before it was finally extinguished, leaving a trail of destruction in its path. In its wake, it left a scene of utter devastation, with entire neighborhoods reduced to ashes. An estimated 13,200 houses had been destroyed, displacing countless families. Over 70,000 people, more than 2/3 of the city's population, were left homeless, forced to seek refuge wherever they could. Remarkably, the death toll from the fire is believed to have been relatively low, considering the scale of the disaster. Only 6 verified deaths were recorded, although the true number is likely higher due to the chaos and confusion. Many victims were likely lost in the chaos or their remains consumed by the flames, making it difficult to ascertain the true human cost of the tragedy. Section 8. Rising from the Ashes. Rebuilding London. The Great Fire of 1666 was a devastating tragedy for London, reducing much of the city to ashes. However, it also presented a unique opportunity for renewal and transformation. In the wake of the disaster, King Charles II appointed Sir Christopher Wren, a renowned architect, to oversee the ambitious task of rebuilding the city. Wren envisioned a new London, one that would rise from the ashes with wider streets, open public spaces, and buildings constructed of more durable materials like stone and brick. To ensure the safety of the new city, new building codes were enacted, focusing on fire prevention and structural integrity. One of the significant changes was the banning of timber framing in the city center, a measure aimed at reducing the risk of future fires. Additionally, buildings were spaced farther apart to prevent the rapid spread of flames, a crucial step in urban planning. These thoughtful changes and improvements helped to create a safer, more resilient city, setting the stage for London's future growth and development.